Okay, folks, I decided to make chocolate Italian gelato, but not just any gelato. It's the gelato that I love the most ever, made by Italian citizens of Munich. And Munich has many very high-level Italian restaurants and cafes. It's actually not very far from the north of Italy. And I have here 8 ounces of chopped bittersweet chocolate. I reserved the egg yolks from when I made buttercream, Swiss meringue buttercream. Remember, I used 12 whites for that, but I also screwed up on a couple eggs, so I probably ended up with 14 or 15 yolks left over. I froze them, and because I froze them to save them for future use, because no one wants to waste eggs. They're not exactly the cheapest thing where I am. And I brought them to room temperature, but because I don't know how many egg yolks there are, I weighed them. I have 150 grams of egg yolks. I calculated that an egg yolk is 18 grams, and 8 of them is 144. But not, this is close enough. And no, these aren't cooked, they're just not chilled, and they will work just fine. Basically, a gelato is made of a custard with a custard base. There's a lot of confusion if you go online about what a gelato versus an ice cream is, but that's because a lot of creameries are making gelato and calling it ice cream. Ice cream is just that, frozen mixed cream. So I'm making the preparation. I have the egg yolks, and my favorite recipe from Bali Beni in Munich involves at least a thumb. I'm guessing because I'm recreating this from memory. At least a thumb of fresh ginger. And I'll just be using the hand grater here. I don't want to waste all the machinery. I have to clean up all the machinery, so I'm doing everything by hand tonight, except for the actual gelato making. So I'll be right back after I finish grating the fresh, people call it the thumb, measure it by thumb. That's a thumb of fresh ginger. So here we go. I have the thumb of fresh ginger. I'm not worried so much about it being super minced because all custards require straining at the end. We're going to do 2.5 cups. We're going to make the custard, but we're adding the ginger into the milk mixture, milk and cream at first. So we're doing 2.5 cups of milk. And 2.5 cups of heavy cream, also known as whipping cream. Okay, that was 2, not 2.5. Okay, so we got to have another half. It won't be rich unless you get this right. That's a half, that's 2.5. We want 2 whipping cream. Remember, ice cream's made of cream, so that makes sense. It's another cup. This should be another cup. It's not quite. That's 2 of heavy cream, and then there will be a half again. If you wonder why, oh, that's too much. If you wonder why I go between metric and imperial, it's because that's I'm of that generation where we switched when I was in the 7th grade. And that is not a half. Okay. We'll do that like that. I think I overdid it with both of those, but that's okay, as long as the machine can handle it. And then we're going to turn this up to medium, just to get it warming. I will be adding a little salt. I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon because even though chocolate always wants salt, I'm not sure. Okay, you know what? I'm doing half a teaspoon. I have my wooden spoon, and for some reason wooden spoons are, for many recipes, just the best way. There's tradition and there's science. Let me see, I'm going to burn my board here. Okay, let's not burn the board. I've burned it already once, as you can probably see. So that's going to come to almost a boil before we, oh yes, we want 1/2 cup of sugar in the mixture. The total amount of sugar is 1 cup, that's 1/2 cup. It's 1 cup divided. We're going to add the other half to a separate bowl. Basically, we're making a custard, and then we're turning the custard into a something like a chocolate ganache. Don't want to forget, we need 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, although it's just it's important to have. It is going to fill in the background flavor. Remember, we have an entire tablespoon of fresh ginger in there. That's 1. That's all you need. Oops, sorry about jiggling. Oh, I can see not everything is visible. All right, I can take the vanilla, which I also buy in bulk. Natural vanilla. Don't try to buy extracts that are artificial. I get this from my local Cook's Corner also. Get it in bulk. And stir this up. Someday I'll figure out what the scientific reason is for using wooden spoons. But I think it's a feel, and also you don't really have to worry about metals and plastics and so on. It's just traditional. But when you make something like a pâte à choux for cream puffs, there is no other way. You have to use a wooden spoon to beat it and get the consistency. Now I have my egg yolks. They're still chilled. I haven't totally melted yet, but it won't matter because we're just going to mix it the way you would in an electric mixer with a whisk attachment. I just prefer not to get that out for the moment. How many machines do you really want? And I'm going to beat this until it's frothy and creamy, but it should be light in color. And therefore, I'm going to make an ellipsis here until I'm done beating that until it's light and frothy, okay? All right, you can see that the milk and cream plus ginger, half the sugar and vanilla isn't boiling, it's coming to the boil. That took around 3 minutes, maybe 5. And you can see that I've whipped this mixture, which took, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, into light, fluffy egg and the other half cup of sugar. And I didn't need a machine, but I used some elbow grease. We're just gonna wait for this to come up. And I'm gonna stir so there's no, I can see some boiling. Okay, you don't want it to actually boil. You want it to come to a simmer. You can see, I'm gonna turn that off. It's boiling now. That's good enough. This is the stage where all custards are made. It's called tempering the eggs. And you want to be whisking and pouring and whisking and pouring. And you don't want to cook the eggs. You don't want them scrambled eggs. They will be cooked eventually. There we go. That's 2 half cups. I'm gonna stir. Basically, you can put in as much as about 1/3 of the milk base. Like that, and you'll see there's no curdling. And then, like all custards, and I should mention that custards are the base of almost so many desserts, including anything French, pâte pâtissière, which is basically a custard filling for eclairs and Napoleon. So this is off at the moment. The heat is off, but that's because we pour the whole thing back. We turn the heat back on medium, and we stir until it's thickened. Crème anglaise is basically a thin version of this. Almost every patisserie is made from custard at its base, and that's the same thing for gelato. For good gelato, also good ice cream. If we want to call ice creams made with custard ice cream, it doesn't really matter to me what we call it. There's quite a big difference in creaminess and depth of flavor. And you can see that this, I don't know if you can see, but I can feel it with the wooden spoon, that it's actually thickening. Timing would count on a number of factors, including size of the pot, the depth of the pot, the amount of heat. But that's why all great bakers use the back of the spoon method. This needs to thicken a little more, and wow, it doesn't take long. That's because there are 8 egg yolks, sorry, obviously. Sometimes you have to see what I'm doing and not listen to me. Anyway, this is going to get thicker, and it is the base of the ice cream. It's the custard base of the gelato. Sorry. And it's getting there. You don't want, what you want is to see your finger mark. You want you to see your fingers. Sorry, you want to be able to, ooh, that's looking really good. Don't know if you can see it on camera. Let me move it over. Oh, there's only so much I can do. This is super creamy at this stage, quite thick. And that says this is a true custard. If you're making a custard dessert that was just custard, you might add gelatin, and you might cook them in a bain-marie in the oven, and that's the stage you would have before you do that. But we're not cooking this, we're freezing it. All right, turn that off. This is where you get into the part where the custard becomes a ganache. Sorry, ganache. And all custards are sieved like this because you always want them to be smooth. And you get out different aspects of the eggs and in my case, this is mostly, the leftover is shards of ginger, which you can see there. Anyway, that's not a difficult sieve. You leave well, when I make ganache, I've always been told, and I always do it, I leave the mixture with the 8 ounces of chocolate for 1 minute before stirring. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that you don't want the chocolate itself to turn grainy. You want it to melt slowly in the mixture. And if you agitate it at first, it becomes grainy and not beautiful. And you don't want that. You want it to be beautiful. So I'll leave that for now and I'll show you the next stage. All right. So this is rested with the chocolate for a minute. Going to spatula it together. It looks like nothing's happening for a while, but it will. It's just how it goes. Stirring gently. It takes a little while. You'll see that it's changing color. It should change color. All right, so that was a minute or so, and I'm stirring the mixture. I'm going to sift some chocolate into it, some dark. I'm going to sift about a quarter of a cup of Dutch processed cocoa into it. Remember, I'm remaking this from not even memory. I'm just recreating what I tasted, and I think this needs more chocolate. Okay, let's go. Ooh, that means whisking. Basically, when I've whisked this to the darkness that I want, kind of It's beginning to look like the batter for a devil's food cake, which I like, or a brownie. But this, remember, this is custard, and it's the custard base for the gelato. And I can tell right now that the flavor is divine. So now what we do, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I wanted to see. So I added a little bit more chocolate and a little bit more, and quite a nice heaping quarter cup of Dutch process chocolate. This needs to go down to room temperature and then chill in the refrigerator for 2 hours. However, when it comes to room temperature, which might be never, joking, I'm going to chill it in my deep freeze bench freezer because I want to show you tonight and not wait. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, folks, this mixture, the ice cream gelato mixture, has been chilling. I chilled it in the freezer for an hour. We're going to put the super chilled bowl in the ice cream maker as per the instructions, I love double. That's non-irrelevant. No, I'm just making up words now. Anyway, so put the bowl in there. We have the mixture. You know, I wish you could really taste it. I want to go back to what happened between the last video and this one. The color wasn't as dark as I wanted, so I added another half cup of some extraordinarily beautiful chocolate that I get at the restaurant warehouse store in Montreal. It has a fluidity, has 4.2 milk fat, it's 70% cacao bean, and it has a 4 out of 5 in fluidity. You don't need it, but I added it. I added it just because I wanted extra. And then you saw in the last video that I added almost a half a cup of chocolate cocoa powder because I wanted it, because I'm trying to recreate something I had, and the taste is still in my mind. The flavor, I had it many times. Sometimes I had the ginger gelato, chocolate gelato with a scoop of cinnamon gelato or a scoop of coffee or espresso gelato. I think I'll try those later if this works out. But I did just taste this, and it's basically pudding, right? That's what gelato is, it's chocolate pudding, but I made it super dark. And something I didn't show between the last video and this one is I thought that the mixture was so full of milk that I needed more ginger. So I added another half thumb of ginger. A thumb of ginger is around 2 tablespoons. I added another tablespoon, and just from a little tasting of the spatula, I can tell I did the right thing. And from the color, you must see how dark it is. You know, custard is pudding, and that's what gelato's made of. So we have the machine put together. We're going to press the gelato button and press start. And I have this great pouring bowl. Thank you, Anne Popperwell. I bought this just because you suggested it. And I don't want it to overflow. Oh, I should say, by the way, I didn't strain out that last bit of ginger I put in because I don't really mind it. I didn't put any large chunks, just the minced ginger. Oh my gosh, the smell. So cliche, but I wish you could smell it. The fresh ginger is absolutely imperative. Now I want to make something excellent tomorrow night, like espresso ice cream or anything. So the machine takes about 30 minutes on the gelato mode. I'm not sure that this will be enough. Put the top on. I'd like to wipe that top down first. It's going to be messy. Oh look, a piece of ginger. Go for it. Okay, so that's that for 30 minutes. I might add 10 minutes to that because obviously a batch this big isn't chilled thoroughly in an hour. But it's chilled enough to start. Thank you so much. Bye. Gelato has been churning for almost 30 minutes and it's looking quite good. I'll see if I can. You can't really see it without me lifting the top, but to me that's quite perfect. The buzzer rang, which means it's done. So we're going to turn that off and we're going to get this into my glass freezer container as soon as possible because it needs to freeze. This is the churning and chilling stage. But it would be too thin to serve. As you can see, it has the perfect consistency. Oh my gosh, nobody would want anything better than that. Except for chocolate haters, but that's okay. This could easily have been a vanilla bean gelato very easily. You just don't add the chocolate or the ginger. Same recipe. Once you get a handle on making a couple different gelatos, ice creams, and just trying to get as much as I can. And sorbets, you basically are making the same thing in different ways. But like I said before, you don't need to make a custard for most ice creams. And I certainly don't when I'm making nice ice cream that has cream and vanilla and then added caramel. You don't even do that in the machine. So let's see how much I can get into this. One of my apportioned glass freezing containers. I use this for everything that I freeze, but I also find it perfect for ice cream, gelato. Get a sense of what's going on here. I'm not sure, I might have a little bit too much for this container. Anyway, the flavor and the gorgeousness of it is really what I was after, and I can smell the ginger and the deep chocolate flavor. That's what I was really trying to attain in this experiment. Thank you so much for watching. Can you see it? Yum.